The story kicks off as the Abyss, a magical forest gone rogue, threatens to devour Null's hometown. The Abyss forms when the air gets too thick with mana, linking the human world with the demon realm, known as the Void. And tonight, it's hit level 12, which is bad news because that's when the big boys creatures called Lords show up for dinner. Null's grandfather, Brandon, once the baddest seeker around, known as Overdeath. Yeah, with a name like that, you know he means business, gets ready for battle. He grabs his old weapon and mutters about never thinking he'd have to use it again. Classic action hero vibes. Brandon tells Null to hide in the shelter, promising that help's on the way. But Null isn't buying it. He knows that help means Brandon's about to throw hands with the Lord solo. Before he heads out, Brandon gives Null that trademark Overdeath confidence, asking if he's forgotten who he is. Overdeath, he reminds him, a name that strikes fear into everything with a pulse. Brandon swears to protect Null no matter what, walking off like the action star he was born to be. As Null watches him leave, he knows the old man's ready to face whatever nightmare crawls out of the abyss. In the shelter, Null's nerves are fried. His mind races with every worst-case scenario imaginable. The moments drag on until, eventually, he can't take it anymore. He steps outside and finds Brandon legendary. Unbeatable Brandon gravely wounded. Even the mighty Overdeath has limits, it seems. Brandon, despite literally being on death's doorstep, takes the moment to drop some seeker wisdom on Null. This life's a tough one, kid. You fight. You win. Sometimes you lose. But death? He's always hanging around. He then hits Null with the million-dollar question. Knowing that, you still want to be a seeker? Null, doing his best to keep it together, nods with determination. I'll follow the same path, he says. Proud, Brandon tells him that being a seeker isn't enough. Null has to become the strongest. He makes Null promise to surpass even him. With a fierce resolve, Null swears he'll do just that. Brandon chuckles because of course he does and tells Null he loves him before passing away, leaving Null to scream his heart out in the night. Fast forward 2 years, and Null has kept his promise. Now a full-fledged seeker, he leads his ragtag team into battle against monsters like he's playing 4D chess, while everyone else is stuck in checkers. After slicing and dicing some monsters, the team starts dissecting them. Null breaks down some vampire trivia. Lesser vampires can't use magic, but their queen can pop out mini vampires faster than a magician with a hat full of bunnies, each strong enough to rip an ox in half. As they strategize, a vampire lunges at Null, but Tanya saves him with split-second timing. They consider going straight for the queen, but Null pulls a big, hold your horses moment. He points out that their C-rank squad should focus on the spawns first if they want a snowball's chance in hell. The team knows they wouldn't stand a chance without Null's guidance, even on a B-rank mission like this one. Null reflects on his talker role. It's all about buffing the team, making them stronger. Talkers, often called the weakest class, get laughed at, but Null's got a few tricks up his sleeve. Of course, that's when the vampire queen makes her grand entrance, spewing poisonous gas like she's auditioning for a villain role in a superhero flick. Panic spreads as fast as the gas, and the team immediately knows they're toast without Null's buffs. Lloyd and Walter race to protect him, but amidst the chaos, Tanya takes a hit. Without Null's buffs, the others can barely hold their own. Desperate, they shout at Null to get it together. But Null's had enough of being underestimated. Fury boils over as he tells his team, "Don't you dare look down on me," and draws his weapon, ready to show them what a talker can really do. Activating his tactician skill, he boosts the team's abilities by 25% like a strategic mastermind. He orders them to dodge an incoming attack and uses his battle voice to ramp up their stamina and mana recovery. Tanya throws up a barrier around the warriors, and the fight rages on. But just as things seem to be under control, more monsters start pouring in. Tanya's nerves get the best of her, so Null uses his pure support skill to calm her down. Setting a timer for 74 seconds, Null takes charge. "I'll handle the small fry," he declares. "You focus on the big one." With perfect precision, he directs every move. He stuns the weaker creatures and preps his magic gun, the only anti-beast weapon a talker can wield. His ice bullet freezes most of the demons, but one slips through. Now, Null's down to his last bullet, with just 43 seconds left on the clock. It's do or die time. Null's brain kicks into high gear as he calculates that the beast will reach him in precisely 23 seconds, just enough time for a hero moment. With seconds to spare, he relays orders to his slightly clueless teammates to target the main body. Barely dodging the beast's attack, Null smirks as his brain-dead comrades finally get their act together and attack. Tanya, bless her heart, is amazed that they actually pulled off the win, but freaks out when she thinks Null got hit. Turns out, she worries too much. Null's timing is as flawless as his ego. The spawns freeze as expected, because of course, Null's plan accounted for that. The mission wraps up in 74 seconds, right on schedule, leaving his teammates in awe and joking that Null might be a little too good at playing with fire. As they tease him for his daredevil moves, Null's mind drifts to a childhood memory of his grandfather. As a kid, Null hated being a talker and wanted to be a badass warrior like his granddad. But the old man, ever the wise one, reassured him, promising that his true talent would shine one day. Now back in the present, Null's more determined than ever to surpass his legendary grandfather. Yes, even as a talker, the job everyone says is the weakest link in the Seeker world. He takes a moment to explain how the capital of R thrives on magic and technology derived from beasts. Seekers are its protectors, admired like rock stars for keeping the abyss at bay. Later, while the team digs into their well-earned meal, Null reflects on how, at 15, he'd started recruiting companions because, let's face it, a talker can't survive solo. Walter, with a belly full of pride and booze, is busy flaunting their $5,000 reward. Meanwhile, Tanya and Lloyd are already plotting their next big move. Null, ever the schemer, silently notes they could use a scout but chooses to focus on gaining experience with the current crew. Things take a turn when a slightly tipsy Walter accuses Null of being a bit too obsessed with money. Walter teases him, saying a seeker should care about heroics, not gold. Cue Null's mental eye roll. He's reminded of something his grandfather once told him: "You need money to stay alive, kid. Forget being labeled greedy. People who call you evil are just broke." Null smiles to himself. Classic grandpa. In the present, Null shrugs off the money digs, but Walter, who has clearly had one drink too many, keeps pushing, turning the conversation into a full-blown argument. Null, not one to back down, throws a jab at Walter, calling him out for relying on his age to command authority. Skill is what matters, not wrinkles. This fires Walter up, who accuses Null of staying safe during fights while others take the real risks. But Null just grins and keeps taunting him. Tensions rise until Walter threatens to end Null's life. Null, in typical fashion, coolly accepts the challenge. Thankfully, Lloyd steps in, reminding everyone that they're supposed to be a team, not a reality TV drama. After dividing the cash and realizing they only net $2,500 each, Tanya's disappointed with the payout. Lloyd tries to calm her down by explaining that tough jobs like this don't come around often, but Null, being the ambitious one, notes that as independent seekers, they're stuck doing second-hand jobs. He throws out a wild idea: why not use their $100,000 savings to start their own clan? Lloyd, ever the voice of reason, points out that they need $200,000 to even consider it. Null, with his usual bravado, offers to cover the extra $80,000 from his personal stash. Null argues that forming their own clan is the only way they'll stop being stuck in the C-rank rat race. Lloyd's hesitant, worried they're too young and inexperienced, but Null fires back with a reality check. When exactly will we be ready? Waiting around won't change a thing. Experience comes from action, not sitting on your hands. Walter, who's been skeptical all along, is slowly swayed when Null points out that their looks and youth make them valuable assets. In Null's world, being a seeker isn't just about skill, it's also about branding. Baby. They could get sponsorship deals, contracts, the whole 9 yards. Walter, ever the simple guy, perks up at the idea that being good-looking might actually get them better treatment. Null even reassures him that despite his flaws, Walter's got the face to help the clan's image. Walter, feeling flattered and already imagining the fame and fortune, signs on, even throwing in a crude joke about using his status to attract women, earning him a well-deserved scolding from Tanya. With Walter now on board, Null turns to Lloyd, waiting for his verdict. Lloyd, visibly shocked, hears Null drop the bomb. If they don't agree to form the clan, he's out. Null's got a dream, after all, to surpass his legendary grandfather over death and become the greatest seeker. No pressure, right? Lloyd, after much thought, finally agrees. He knew this decision was coming, and they might as well embrace it. Tanya, still skeptical, questions his choice, but Lloyd reassures her. They all agree to reconvene in 2 days to finalize their plans after they've had time to recover from the booze and the bombshells. As the group breaks up, Tanya stops Null, but all she can manage is a simple goodbye. The next day, chaos erupts when Walter rushes to tell Null that Lloyd and Tanya have betrayed them, leaving Null wondering what his next move should be. Thanks for watching. If you love plot twists and chaos, hit subscribe and smash that like button. More drama coming your way.